The Mongol Empire began in the harsh steppes of Mongolia with the birth of Temujin around 1162. Born into a minor tribal family, his early life was marked by hardship, betrayal, and survival against overwhelming odds. When his father Yasuge was poisoned by rival Tatars, young Temujin's family was abandoned by their tribe, forcing them into poverty and exile. Through a combination of strategic alliances, military prowess, and ruthless determination, Temujin gradually united the fractured Mongol tribes. He demonstrated exceptional leadership by incorporating defeated enemies into his forces rather than simply destroying them, creating a merit-based system that rewarded loyalty and ability over birth. His marriage to birds strengthened political alliances, while his blood brotherhood with Jamuka initially provided crucial support before their eventual rivalry. The turning point came in 1206 when Temujin was proclaimed Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler, at a great assembly called a Kurultai. This moment marked the birth of the Mongol Empire and the beginning of one of history's most dramatic expansions. Genghis Khan immediately began reorganizing Mongol society, creating a decimal military system based on units of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000 warriors called tumans. He also established the Yasa, a legal code that promoted religious tolerance, meritocracy, and strict discipline. Genghis Khan's military campaigns began with the conquest of the Western Xia Kingdom in 1209, followed by devastating attacks on the Jin dynasty in northern China. The Mongols' military success stemmed from their superior mobility, psychological warfare, and adaptive tactics. They employed feigned retreats, siege warfare learned from Chinese engineers, and terror as a weapon to encourage swift surrenders. The campaign against the Khwarezmid Empire demonstrated the Mongols' capacity for total warfare. When Shah Ala ad-Din Muhammad II executed Mongol envoys, Genghis Khan launched a campaign of unprecedented destruction. Cities like Samarkand, Bukhara, and Merv were completely destroyed, with populations massacred or enslaved. The Mongols systematically destroyed irrigation systems, turning fertile regions into wastelands that took centuries to recover. Genghis Khan's forces also pursued the fleeing Khwarezmid Shah across the Caucasus, where generals Jib and Subutai conducted a remarkable reconnaissance in force. They defeated Georgian and Russian armies, including a decisive victory at the Battle of Kalka River in 1223, before returning to Mongolia. This campaign demonstrated the Mongols' ability to operate across vast distances and coordinate complex multi-front operations. By Genghis Khan's death in 1227, the Mongol Empire stretched from the Caspian Sea to the Sea of Japan. His funeral was conducted in secret, and his burial site remains unknown to this day. According to Mongol tradition, his tomb was trampled by horses and disguised to prevent grave robbing, creating one of history's greatest archaeological mysteries. Following Genghis Khan's death, the empire faced its first succession crisis. After a 2-year regency, Jidai Khan, Genghis Khan's third son, was elected Great Khan in 1229. Gede proved to be an excellent administrator and continued his father's expansionist policies while establishing more sophisticated governance structures. Under Gede's leadership, the Mongols completed the conquest of the Jin dynasty in 1234, finally taking their capital at Kaifeng after a prolonged siege. This victory brought vast wealth and Chinese administrative expertise into the empire. Gede also established Karakoram as the empire's capital, creating a cosmopolitan center where merchants, artisans, and diplomats from across Eurasia gathered. The most dramatic expansion occurred in the west under the brilliant general Subutai. The Mongols launched a coordinated assault on Europe, dividing their forces to conquer multiple kingdoms simultaneously. In 1237, they began the systematic conquest of Russian principalities, capturing Kiev in 1240 after a devastating siege. Chronicles describe the city's destruction as so complete that only 200 houses remained standing. The European campaign reached its climax in 1241 with simultaneous invasions of Poland and Hungary. At the Battle of Mohi, Sabbatai's forces annihilated the Hungarian army using sophisticated tactics, including a feigned retreat and coordinated attacks from multiple directions. The Mongols seemed poised to conquer all of Europe when news of Genghis' death in 1241 forced their withdrawal to elect a new Great Khan. His widow Tregine served as regent until 1246. When her son Gaik was finally elected Great Khan, Genghis' death triggered a succession crisis that revealed growing tensions within the empire. Gaik's short reign ended with his death in 1248, leading to another succession struggle won by Mongol Khan in 1251. Mongol Khan attempted to revitalize the empire's expansion while addressing administrative challenges. He ordered his brothers Hulagu and Kublai to conquer the Middle East and Song China respectively, while launching a census throughout the empire to improve taxation. In 1258, his forces captured Baghdad, ending the Abbasid Caliphate and killing the last caliph. The Mongols also conducted diplomatic missions to European courts, including papal envoys and the famous journey of William of Rubruck. Hulag's campaign in the Middle East proved devastatingly successful. Contemporary accounts describe libraries burning for weeks and the Tigris River running black with ink from destroyed books. The Mongols continued into Syria, capturing Aleppo and Damascus, but their advance was finally halted by the Mamluks at the Battle of Ain, Jalut in 1260. The empire's unity began fracturing during this period. The Western khanates increasingly operated independently, while religious and cultural differences emerged between different regions. The conversion of various khans to Islam, Buddhism, or Christianity created new sources of conflict within the originally shamanist empire. The succession crisis following Mongol's death in 1259 effectively ended the unified Mongol Empire. Kublai Khan defeated his brother Arik Beke in a civil war, but his authority was only recognized in the eastern portions of the empire. And the last Song emperor died in 1279, giving the Mongols control over all of China for the first time in history. The Western khanates became essentially independent, pursuing their own policies and interests. Kublai Khan focused on completing the conquest of China, establishing the Yuan dynasty in 1271. The final Song stronghold of Xiangyang fell in 1273 after a 5-year siege. Kublai proved an able administrator, maintaining Chinese governmental structures while promoting trade and cultural exchange. Under Kublai's rule, China experienced unprecedented prosperity and cultural flowering. His invasions of Japan in 1274 and 1281 both failed, with the second attempt famously destroyed by a typhoon the Japanese called kamikaze or divine wind. The Mongols' religious tolerance allowed Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism to coexist, while their promotion of trade brought merchants from across Eurasia to Chinese ports. The most famous of these was Marco Polo, whose account of his travels provided Europeans with their first detailed description of Mongol China. Kublai Khan's military adventures beyond China met with mixed success. Naval expeditions against Java and Vietnam also proved unsuccessful, suggesting the limits of Mongol military effectiveness in maritime and tropical environments. While Kublai Khan ruled China, 3 other khanates governed the western portions of the former empire. The Il Khanate controlled Persia and much of the Middle East, the Golden Horde dominated Russia and Eastern Europe, and the Sughatai Khanate ruled Central Asia. The Il Khanate, founded by Hulagu Khan, initially continued the Mongol tradition of religious tolerance. However, Ghazan Khan's conversion to Islam in 1295 marked a significant shift. Under Mongol rule, Persia experienced economic recovery and cultural renaissance, with the Mongols patronizing art, architecture, and literature. The Ilkhanate gradually weakened due to succession disputes and economic difficulties, finally collapsing in 1335. The Golden Horde maintained control over Russian principalities through a tribute system that allowed local rulers to govern under Mongol oversight. This arrangement proved remarkably durable, lasting until the late 5th–10th century. The Mongols' conversion to Islam under Berk Khan created tensions with the Ilkhanate and influenced the development of Tatar culture. The Golden Horde's power gradually declined as Russian principalities grew stronger, culminating in Ivan the Great's refusal to pay tribute in 1480. The Chagatai Khanate proved the most unstable of the Western Khanates, frequently dividing into competing factions. Despite political fragmentation, the region remained economically important due to its position along the Silk Road. The Khanates' eastern portion eventually became the foundation for later Central Asian empires, while the western regions were absorbed by the Timurid Empire. The Mongol Empire's greatest legacy may be its facilitation of cultural and economic exchange across Eurasia. The Mongols actively promoted trade, establishing the Yam postal system that allowed rapid communication across vast distances. This system enabled merchants to travel safely from Europe to China, dramatically increasing trade volumes and cultural interaction. The empire's religious tolerance policies had profound implications for world history. Unlike many conquerors, the Mongols generally allowed conquered peoples to maintain their religious practices, often adopting local customs themselves. This tolerance facilitated the spread of technologies, ideas, and artistic styles across the empire, contributing to what historians call the Mongol Exchange. The Mongols' military innovations influenced warfare for centuries. Their composite bows, mobility tactics, and psychological warfare methods were adopted by armies throughout Eurasia. More importantly, their administrative systems, which combined elements from Chinese, Persian, and Islamic traditions, provided models for later empires. The Mongol Empire's decline occurred gradually over nearly 2 centuries. The Yuan dynasty in China faced increasing internal rebellions and natural disasters, finally falling to the Ming dynasty in 1368. The last Yuan emperor fled to Mongolia, where his descendants maintained a reduced state until the 17th century. The Western Khanates followed similar patterns of gradual decay. Internal succession disputes, economic difficulties, and the rise of new powers combined to fragment Mongol territories. The Black Death, which spread along Mongol trade routes, devastated populations and disrupted the economic systems that had supported the empire. Despite political fragmentation, Mongol cultural influence persisted. The Mughal Empire in India, founded by Babur in 1526, claimed descent from both Genghis Khan and Tamerlane. Various Mongol successor states continued to exist in Central Asia until the Russian conquest in the 19th century. The Mongol Empire's historical significance extends far beyond its military conquests. At its height, it governed approximately 22% of the world's total land area and 100 million people, making it the largest contiguous land empire in human history. The empire's promotion of trade, cultural exchange, and technological transfer helped connect East and West in unprecedented ways. The Mongols' impact on world demographics was profound and controversial. While their conquests resulted in massive population losses in some regions, they also facilitated the movement of peoples and the mixing of cultures. Their religious tolerance and meritocratic ideals influenced later concepts of governance and human rights. Modern scholarship has increasingly emphasized the Mongols' positive contributions to world civilization, moving beyond earlier characterizations of them as merely destructive barbarians. Their legal codes, administrative systems, and cultural policies demonstrated sophisticated understanding of governance across diverse populations and geographical regions. The Mongol Empire's legacy continues to influence the modern world. The nations of Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and other Central Asian states celebrate their Mongol heritage. While the empire's history provides important lessons about the possibilities and limitations of pre-modern globalization, the Mongol Empire remains a testament to the transformative power of military innovation, political organization, and cultural adaptation in shaping human history. Recent archaeological excavations have provided new insights into Mongol civilization beyond their military achievements. Discoveries at Karakoram have revealed sophisticated urban planning, international trade networks, and evidence of the empire's multicultural character. Excavations have uncovered Chinese ceramics, Islamic glassware, and European metalwork, confirming historical accounts of the capital's cosmopolitan nature. The search for Genghis Khan's tomb continues to captivate archaeologists and historians. Modern technology, including satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar, has identified potential burial sites, though none have been definitively confirmed. According to Mongol tradition, the tomb's location was kept secret to prevent desecration, with legends suggesting that a river was diverted to hide the burial site, and that anyone who witnessed the funeral was executed to maintain secrecy.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more engaging historical content.